Women Innovators. Interviews with women with big messages and big missions, sharing their stories to inspire you to live your passion and step up to make the world a better place. Here's your host, Tammy Patzer.
Hi, this is Tammy Patzer, and I'm excited to introduce today's guest, Heather Poduska. Heather has more than 30 years of professional performance experience on stage as an operatic soprano, a speaker, and as the host of the popular podcast and television show Thrive. She combines her unique performance skills with her expertise as a personal brand strategist, image consultant, and business coach to teach driven entrepreneurs how to become highly profitable, dynamic presenters and industry leaders. Her clients have appeared on national platforms and made thousands of dollars speaking live and in front of the camera. However, Heather's greatest love is helping entrepreneurs get to the core of who they want to be and giving them the tools to express themselves powerfully and authentically to create the businesses they love. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you so much, Tammy. I'm excited to be here with you.
Well, I'm really excited because everyone, I've actually had the pleasure of working with Heather, and she is someone who can literally transform your life and help you become more and have that charisma that helps you attract people. So let's get right down to it, Heather. Who do you help?
Well, I help entrepreneurs, and mostly women entrepreneurs, who want to really fulfill their potential. They've got an idea for their business. Maybe they've been in business for a while and they want to take it to the next level, but they know that they need to zip up their messaging, make it really tight. And also, it might not feel to them like they're completely in alignment. And that alignment word has been really big for me lately, that sometimes you can create a really shiny business or something, even maybe that's making you money, but it doesn't quite feel like you're expressing yourself authentically. And I know that's also a big buzzword in the industry, but it really means having that connection to who you are and how you want to express yourself, how you want to share your gifts, your voice, your message, your talents. And then those people who have that feeling, who want to take it to the next level but need refinement. So they need to align their message with their image, the way they're showing up in their social media platforms, in their website, or the way they're showing up when they go to speak, and how they're performing. Are they delivering the kind of message that reflects who they are, their level of expertise, and also aspirationally where they want to go? Are they showing up as someone who is ready to command a national stage, or are they needing a little bit of refinement in that area so that when people look at them, they automatically see them as someone who's a high value, high performing expert?
Well, I know from my personal experience with you that you have a gift for the message, for clarity and polish. One of the things that really has always struck me about you is how you can take a concept and a couple minutes you just rattle off, that this entire beautiful, succinct message. So the people you help, what do you think are maybe two or three of the biggest problems that they're facing when they come to you, and how do you help them?
Well, that's really interesting. I just heard an interview with Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, and two of the top three stumbling blocks that he talked about for entrepreneurs were, first of all, being able to clearly articulate what you do so that it's easily understandable and the value is obvious in 90 seconds or less. So if you cannot do that, you're losing people. How do you communicate your value? What the results are that you can deliver, how you can transform people's lives, why people should work with you in 90 seconds or less. And then the second thing is, why you? There are a lot of people out there that have similar businesses, similar services. Why are you the person for that job? And that why can be your personality. It can be a special expertise that you have. It can be a point of view. It can be the way you deliver your services. But until you're clear on that, your audience is not going to be clear on that. And you're not going to stand out. So,
Saved by the bell.
saved by the bell. Sorry about that. Um,
I think that's really interesting because think about it. If Kevin O'Leary, who is well known as one of the sharks, is telling people, hey, you need to be able to tell me what your big magical ability is and what makes you stand out in less than 90 seconds, it's that shock and awe factor. I actually had someone tell me that the other day that they're like, well, what's the shock and awe that makes you stand out? And so you just really articulated that that is one of the things that people need to work on. So if how do you start working with someone, Heather?
well, first of all, the basis for it is what their vision is. What do they really, really want? Because again, I think people are not always either clear or completely honest with themselves. So sometimes you just might not have thought about it clearly enough or processed it or put it on paper or had a sounding board to really, okay, what is this vision? Because we're busy. Some people are still working 9 to 5 jobs. You have families. Maybe you're in your business already and it's not quite what you want it to be, but you don't have the time to really sit down and focus on it. So sometimes it's just a matter of clarity. But the other piece is sometimes people really don't understand what they want. And until you're clear about that, you really are spinning your wheels because you start to build things that don't feel good. They feel okay, but they don't feel great. And then you're like, well, what am I doing wrong? Because you're not attracting the kinds of clients, you don't have that magnetism that you talked about earlier. So that's where we really start is understanding what it is that you're trying to build, why you're trying to build that. And those two questions are extremely important. It sounds simple, but once you have those pieces in place, that's like, and when you go to the garage with your car and they put those blocks under your wheels so they don't roll away, getting the clarity around those first pieces is like taking those blocks off from underneath your business wheels so that you can start to get some momentum.
Wow. I think that you're absolutely right because I can use myself as an example because for years, it's like you know that you have all these talents, you have all these gifts, but yet you're not playing at the highest level possible. And just recently was I able to like say, okay, I'm going to really step into my unique knowledge and start offering it. And when I did, it's like the floodgates opened up and the right people started to show up when before I was always being treated like a commodity. And
Mm-hmm.
as you know, there's nothing worse than for someone to basically be saying, well, I like what you have, but I can get that from this person for cheaper. And, so it's like, you just say, okay, well, go ahead, get it cheaper because you're not getting me. But that doesn't do you any good in that moment. So, and I do know from my personal experience with you that what you bring to the table is, and I know that because of the world today, authentic is very overused. All of the words that have real meaning, the marketing people take them over and they kind of taint them. But like you said, transparency, being authentic, being yourself, being somebody who has a heart
Mm-hmm.
um, of service. I guess it's the servant's attitude or the servant's heart. And I know you have that. So when somebody comes to you, what might that process look like? Like Heather, I want to work with you. Now what?
Well, the first thing we would do is really look at the entire brand and what is it that they want. Like I said, what is the vision for what they have? Where are they in their business and what do they want? And what are the pieces that need to be in place? So we look at the whole landscape of their brand. Is the messaging clear? Is the packaging clear? Maybe it's just putting together really juicy, lucrative packages so that they know how to bundle their services so that it's easy for people to buy from them. So we look at that. Okay, how are you selling your packages? What is the message of selling and how are you showing up online? Are you someone who wants to be speaking? And of course, I'm a performer, so that's a really huge part of it. We look at their performance chops because everybody is a performer if you are in business, whether you're performing on a real stage, in a hotel room, on Facebook Live, if you're doing, a TV show or media, you have to be able to show up and nail your performance and your message and get people in your funnel with your magnetism and your value. So we look at all of those things, and depending on where the brand as a whole needs the attention, that's where we focus. And some people, it might be their image. They have everything else. They've got the packages, they've got the message, they've got really great performance skills, but they're the way they look online, their personal image does not look like a star, and they need to crank that up. So it really depends on which part of their brand, and by brand I mean the whole enchilada, how they're showing up. So that's how we would start, is what needs addressing. And then I have, of course, programs for each of those things, for messaging, for strategy, for image, and for performance.
It's funny because as you were talking, when you said they don't look like a star, and remember Susan Boyle,
Yes.
the singer from a few years ago, and she looked like some, I guess back in the day they would have called them a housefrau.
Yeah.
She had gray curly hair, her eyebrows were bushy, 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 and she went on to the stage in front of Simon Cowell, and he's like giving her this dirtiest look ever, and then she opened her mouth and it was like angels singing.
Right.
And of course now you see photographs of her, and of course her hair looks good, or they remade her to look like her, but to let her project who she is,
Right.
that beautiful voice. So is that a good example of how you help people transform?
Yes, I think it is to some degree, but I would also say the goal is, you said it, but the goal is not to make somebody something they are not. It's not to make somebody, wear Chanel and Prada if that's not their brand. It's all about alignment. So if your brand is something like Eddie Bauer, say it's like more laid back or earthy, and that's who you are, then we're not going to put you in a gown. That's not alignment. However, if that's who you are, if you look at an Eddie Bauer store, if you go in, at least where I live, all of the clothes are folded very perfectly. They have those naughty pine tables. They have a picture of people rowing and rafting in the back, and everything is very, very organized and streamlined. So it looks, it's not Target. It's a little bit higher up than that. So what you're trying to do is show the value of your product, your services, your brand, and you're showing up as the best version of who you are. So it's a level of sophistication. It's not changing the core of the brand, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I understand that because I've actually heard of stories of people who, for example, who they wanted to go on TV, so they did some television training, and they had like makeovers, but they weren't themselves, and so they didn't feel good. And like you said, if you don't feel good in the clothing, or in with the makeup or the hair or something. I have a story about myself. One time I was going to have a photo shoot, so I went and had my hair done and makeup. Well, I don't know what the girl was thinking, because I told her, I said, I want a little height on my hair.
Uh-huh.
So I guess in her mind, a little height meant, I want to make you look like Loretta Lynn or Dolly Parton, okay?
Wow.
In the
Wow.
old days. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there I was, and I did my photo shoot, and the photos were beautiful. However, I look like a country western singer from the 1970s. So, of
Hmm.
course, I never used those photos because that wasn't me.
That's a great
So,
example because if so pretend like you were my client and we got really clear on your brand. If you went to a hairdresser or you went to a photo shoot, you would know what you want, right? So you would be able to advocate for yourself and say, this isn't on brand for me. I know what I want and I know what I'm looking for. So that's part of the work as well, is to empower people. So when they walk into situations where they're their own brand ambassador, they know what to ask for and they know how to present themselves. And I was thinking a little bit more about the Sarah Boyle example in American Idol, and all of those shows, The Voice, there's a whole team behind the scenes. They have vocal coaches, they have stylists, and their whole job is to help that contestant find their sound, find their style, find their genre, right? It's to help them really come into their own as an artist that has something unique and powerful to say. And that's how I like to think about what I do, is really helping mold entrepreneurial artists to be creative, to be expressive, to really exude who they are. Because if you are leaning in to the core of who you are and honoring and celebrating and decorating your body and your message and your services, there is no competition. There is no competition because there's only one you. And when you lean into that, you are a forerunner. So,
wow. Well, I know, and again, we haven't got in our work together. We haven't gotten to the look, but we certainly have talked a lot about the brand strategies and more about the business part of things and about creativity and how to do that representation of being aligned with who you are. And so I know just in the short time I've known you, I feel more powerful, more centered. And the cool thing about you, Heather, because when I look at your images, your brand, I look and I see and I say, "Oh my God, I want to be like her. I want to exude that confidence, that power, that the look of having it all pulled together." And so your brand that you project in online and in person, you are a walking example of, wow, I'd like to be like her and have that power. So I really understand. And anyone listening, if you go look at Heather Poduska's website and her images, and even her messages on Facebook when she does the beautiful graphics, you will see and understand what it means to have a cohesive brand message and statement. And the beauty of it is you can have that too, because I know that many of us were so busy in our, like Heather said, running the business or being in the business, that we don't have all these little pieces. But if you're ready to step up that game, and like she said, everything we do is a performance. It's like our voice inflection, the way we look, just all of these different things. And I'm actually going to ask Heather to help me with my voice inflection, because that is something that uh, I actually had a parathyroid tumor that caused my voice, my speech to slow down. And I've had that removed, but I don't know, it could have affected how I speak, because I remember it really did slow down my voice, and I didn't realize it until later, when it was like I'd hear some of my webinars and I go, "Wow, I talk so slow," and it was because of my processing was being affected by that parathyroid issue. So that's something that your body gets used to doing something a certain way, and you need help. like she said, your voice, the way you move your hands, the way you stand, the energy you project. There's just so much. So tell me a little bit more about the misconceptions about what you do to help people.
I think part of it is that it's a logo. Like it's your logo. It's a web branding is what a website. Um, it's sort of it's like the icing on the cake. It's the extra things, but it isn't the extra things. It is the thing. It is the thing because you are the core of your business. And when you understand yourself and listen, Tammy, I've talked to so many people who've been in business for a long time and they don't know exactly what they're doing. And I don't mean that they're not good business people, but they don't know what they want. They still haven't quite landed and felt like, oh, this is exactly me. This is exactly what I want. And once you do, that power and that energy and that confidence that you get from that is really what propels you. And that clarity helps you from having to be distracted by, we always talk about the shiny object syndrome.
Yes.
When you know what you want, why you're here, how you want to articulate your value, how you want to package what you do, and you feel great about the way you're showing up, a lot of that distraction just goes out the window. And so I think that's maybe one of the bigger misconceptions is that it's something that you do that's an extra. Um, and I'm not a photographer, but I work with people on their photo shoots. And, it's another thing where people kind of have that as an afterthought, or I'll put a picture up there, or, oh, I have to go get my picture taken because I need one, as opposed to like, this is how I'm going to make my brand pop. This is how I'm going to show up as like myself in a really fantastic, fun, unique way. And that's what's really attractive. And that's what's going to make people say, oh, wait, who is she? I want to see what she's doing. I want to watch her. She's my guilty pleasure, right? I'm going to tune in and see what that person is doing all the time because there's something about them. There's something different and exciting about them. So I think that the misconception is that it's either frosting or it's an afterthought or it's separate in some way from the money making part of your business. And it is the money making part of your business.
It's the cake.
It's the cake.
I love that analogy because I'm sure that some people are like going ding 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 right now. And what about the part where people think that maybe they don't need this because their goal is not to be a professional speaker? What about that?
Well, I think that everybody is always evolving. And some like you might not need my services at certain points in your business. And I don't think that my belief is that you shouldn't try to sell something to somebody who doesn't need you. Like you might not need me. You might not need, a social media person at a certain point. But when you do, you do. And people at all levels rebrand. If you look at your website from 3 years ago, you probably go, oh, well, that's not exactly what I'm doing right now. It's not exactly where I want to be going. And, we evolve as human beings. We are trying to learn and express, and maybe you might shift at 10 degrees in your business from what you're doing, or you might want to add or subtract something. So, yeah, I think people like me will be in business for a long time because human beings keep evolving.
So when you're helping entrepreneurs and professionals get ready for presentations, maybe they're just going to be online doing a business consultation. Maybe they're going to go present at the local chamber, or maybe they're going to go speak to 1,000 people in an audience. What do you think is the biggest benefit working with you gives them?
Oh, confidence, 120% confidence. They know, like when you stand on stage and you can deliver and you've got that in your stomach and in your body and you are in command of the stage, in command of your message, in command of the audience, anything is possible. It's so incredibly compelling. And I actually was in a Facebook group a couple of years ago where there were, I don't know, 400 or 500 people in the group, and everybody was supposed to do an intro video. And then based on the intro video, you were supposed to break off into pods of like 5 to 10 people so that it wasn't so overwhelming to be in this large group. And I remember thinking, oh, I'm going to wait and watch everybody's video so I know, who would be a good match for me, who I could help and support. And by the time I got through everybody's video, it'd been a couple of days, and all of the people that I had said, oh, that person looks interesting, that person looks interesting, was snatched up by one of the other groups. And they were all the people who had dynamic videos. And I remember thinking, gosh, they could be horrible at their job. They might not be very good business people at all. I have no idea. This was a 1-minute video. But the energy, the charisma, the friendliness, whatever it is that was a factor that was exuding from those videos made it extremely appealing. People wanted to be around that. And not only is it about selling and about attracting your audience, it's about how you get to feel, how you feel in your body on stage, and being a channel for whatever it is that is trying to come through you, and knowing that you are exuding that as an open, grounded, confident being. There is no price tag for that. I know, I've been there. I know what that feels like, and I know what it feels like not to have that. So that is the thing I would say is the biggest benefit. So.
Wow. And you can, and you're absolutely right. Oh, I mean, right now, I just, a friend of mine, Jessica Carter Brace, is with Tony Robbins at a date with Destiny on the East Coast. And so she showed this image of him and all, I don't know, hundreds, thousands of people around, and he's up on the stage and everybody, but I could feel that energy through her post, coming through. And he's a good example of someone who he could just say, bread is good, and they would go, yeah, because of his energy. And that is the power that you can command. And the beauty of what you do, Heather, is not only can someone learn how to command the audience from a stage, but they can take all of that and command the audience through videos, through webinars, through TV, through radio, through online shows. So it's what I call a transferable skill, because once you learn all of the things that you've described, and that you're able to have that magnetic charisma personality, you are absolutely right. People are attracted to you, and they sometimes don't even know why. It's like they're attracted like magnets to you. They want to be your client. They want to be your customer. They want to do whatever it takes to get more of you and whatever it is that you're offering. So that is really, really powerful. And I know that when I look at, like I said, when I look at your images and those photographs of you, it's like, I want that. I want to listen to your Thrive show. It's like, yeah, you have that magnetic charisma that like pulls people just from a photograph. That's even the power of that. It's just like, Heather Poduska, I want to be like her. That's me. That's how I see you, and that's true. Because
well, let's do it, baby.
you just project that energy, and I just, that's how you make me feel. And think about it. I represent thousands of people, because if I feel that way, that means that other people are getting the same message. So that tells me that not only are you someone who has an authentic brand message, but you're somebody who, if you can do it for yourself, then certainly you can do it for me too. That's how it makes me feel. So, everyone listening, go check out the Poduska.com, and you'll be able to go, whoa, because you in your photos looking back at me, it's like grabs me and pulls me in. So tell me more about, if somebody wants to work with you, how can they find out more information?
Yeah, you can. Well, you said you can go to heatherpoduska.com, and my website's there. They can email me at heather@clearvoicebranding.com. And like I said before, it depends on what part of the brand needs addressing. If someone wants performance skills, if they want that charisma, if they want to look and feel amazing in their photographs and online, and their messaging, there's something for each piece of the brand to work on, whatever that is. So the programs are on my website. But I wanted to say two things about what you were saying about, thank you for the compliments about my pictures and my energy. And one thing is that it's about the feeling. It's about the feeling that you exude and the feeling that your audience perceives because of what you're exuding. And anyone can learn that. Anyone. I'm not special. I didn't grow up in a mansion, and I didn't grow up looking like a supermodel. I was an awkward teenager just like everybody else out there. And, if I can do it, you can do it too. And it's something that you learn. It's a skill like anything else. It's something that can be taught and extracted from people. And I've seen it transform people from nervous to powerhouses. So it is something you can absolutely learn.
Well, I'm really excited about that, and I'm looking forward to our interview. I'm going to be interviewed by Heather on her show, Thrive. And if you haven't caught that yet, it is one of the most unique podcasts because of the fact that it's a iTunes video podcast and audio podcast. So many times you don't see a lot of shows that are both podcasts and television shows. So that I'm really excited about that, and definitely check that out, and go check out heatherpoduska.com. Thank you so much, Heather.
Thank you for having me, Tammy. It's great.
This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it a great day.
You've been listening to Women Innovators with Tammy Patzer. To learn more, please go to womeninnovatorsradio.com. And please do subscribe and share to spread the big messages and big missions to change the world.